Hello everyone, I am Durga Sojanya, Assistant Professor from ECE Department, MLR Institute of Technology. I am going to give the video lecture for the subject Embedded System Design. For our today's session is Memory Selection and Memory Shadowing. So the overview of today's session was first summary of previous session. In previous session, we have discussed what is the memory used for embedded system design, what are different types of memories available for embedded systems, and in that memories we have seen types of ROM, read-only memory, and types of RAM, random access memory. So we have discussed all types of ROM and ROM in previous sessions, and flash memory also. And now for today's session, on these memories, how can we select the memory for our design, and what are the different methods available there for selecting a particular memory or for interfacing a particular memory to our controller. And memory shadowing, what is meant by the concept of memory shadowing, and memory selection for our design. Now go to the today's session, which is the first topic was memory according to the type of interface. So here we have already discussed that there are different types of memories, which are ROM, RAM, and so cache memory comes under, flash memory comes under ROM. So this is SRAM, which comes under RAM. So on these memories, how can we connect these memories to our controller? So the method of using connection for providing connection for memory to the microcontroller or processor is known as interfacing. Here, what are the different types of interfaces we have? Which interface can be used for which memory? So we will discuss in this topic. So the interface of memory with the processor or controller can be different types. One is parallel interface, another one is serial interface. Here the parallel interface will be connected through D0 to D7, which are parallel data lines in the processor. And serial interface, we have two lines which are I2C and SPI. These two are called as serial interface lines. So these two are the buses which are used for providing interface to the serial devices, or which are used for provide interfacing to the serial memory data transfer. So when we want to transfer any data serially to the memory, then we can use these serial interfaces. If we want to transfer the data to the memory through parallelly, or if we want to use a parallel device to transfer data to the memory, we can use the parallel interface. So in the parallel interface, we can use D0 to D7 for providing interfacing or for connecting bus to the controller. Here the serial interfacing, we have I2C and SPI pins are there. Here we have the control pins and data pins. So these are used for providing interfacing to the microcontroller. Here the serial interface is commonly used for data storage memory like EEPROM. So for EEPROMs, we prefer the serial interfacing. The memory density of serial interface memory is usually expressed in terms of kilobytes. So for serial interfacing means we can transfer bit by bit. So we know that serial data communication is nothing but transferring bit by bit. In case of parallel communication, parallel data transfer means we can transfer all the bits of data at a time. So in serial data transferring, only one bit can be transferred at a time, and after one bit of data transmission, we can go for the next bit. But in parallel data transmission, all the bits which are available for that data bus are transmitted at a time. So that here the memory density of serial interface should be in terms of kilobits, whereas the memory density for parallel interfacing should be in terms of kilobytes. So Atmel AT24C512 is an example for serial memory with a capacity of 512 kilobits and two-wire interface. So two-wire interface is nothing but I2C. So we have used the I2C or two-wire interface for providing memory interfacing to the controller AT24C512. And here we can transfer by using this interfacing bus, we can transfer a data of 512 kilobits. So next topic was memory shadowing. Memory shadowing is nothing but, so when we want to copy any memory data from one memory to another memory, we can use the concept memory shadowing. For timing parameters, that is RAM access is faster than the ROM access because it is read only, and here RAM is random access memory. So here for RAM we can use the, even though we are using the serial data transfer, it will be faster compared with the ROM access. Shadowing of memory is a technique adapted to solve the execution speed problem. So that means whenever for the particular processes in the OS, we want to execute very speedily or fastly. So that means the execution time will be very less for OS running programs. So for those programs, we need to run the process very fastly. So for that time, we can use the memory shadowing concept. So in personal computer systems, BIOS stores the hardware configuration information. Usually, it is read and the system is configured according to it during system boot up, which is time consuming. So whenever we are booting our system, so the BIOS will store the hardware configuration, and here whenever at any time we are power on the system, at each and every time the BIOS will need to get the information from the hardware configuration, and it is only read enable, so that we are not having any possibility for write operation. So that's why each time it need to get the data from the hardware configuration, so it takes more time for execution. So in this case we have used a dummy memory and just like a RAM, and we are copying whatever the data present in the BIOS to that RAM, and we can enable the write operation for that, and we can use this for our boot up process only. So here, even though we have the write operation, so it is write protected, and we are using this in the term of in place of boot operation. So then the system will be fast up. So here the manufacturers include a RAM behind the logical layer of BIOS at its same address as a shadow to the BIOS. So during boot up BIOS, this shadowed RAM can be used, so which is write protected, and the original BIOS will be disabled, so that the execution speed will be improved. So here the memory requirement for an embedded system in terms of RAM and ROM is dependent on the type of embedded system and for application which it is designed. So depending on the application design and the processor we have chosen for that design, the memory will be selected. Here the lot of factors will be considered for selecting the memory based on the type and size of memory for that design. Here identify the system requirement. So that means which processor can be used for our application, whether it is SoC or microcontroller, or we have any on-chip memory in that processor, or we need to go for external memory. So we need to collect all these system requirements first, and based on that requirements we need to take a decision whether on-chip memory is sufficient or not. So if on-chip memory is not sufficient, then we will go for the external memory. If the embedded system design is based on RTOS requires certain amount of RAM for its execution and ROM for storing the RTOS image. So depending on the application, if that application needs RTOS, then we have to select the memory based on the RTOS requirement. So we need to have some memory capacity for RTOS. We need to reserve some memory capacity for OS. So that depending on the memory capacity required for RTOS, whether it is possible to collect the memory from the on-chip or not. So if on-chip memory is not sufficient for providing memory to the RTOS, so then we will go for the external memory. So depending on this RTOS requirement also, we need to select the memory. So the idea behind shadowing is to copy the contents of slow ROM into the faster RAM and execute the code from RAM. Here we have already discussed the memory shadowing concept, in which so we have read enable only for ROM. So we are copying the data or the content from the ROM to the RAM, which is having the facility for write operation. So that we need to improve the speed of the execution, and we need to copy the code whatever available in the ROM to the RAM so that the execution will be improved. So here the memory selection will depends on the size of the memory chip and word size of the memory. The memory chip size will be depends on the memory density or in terms of the number of memory bytes per chip. So how many number of bytes can be stored in that memory chip? So depends on the size of memory chip. Word size of the memory. Word size refers to the number of memory bits that can be read or write at a time. So the capacity of the memory to read or write the capability at a time. So the number of bits required for read or write capability for that particular memory. So the memory chips can be in the standard sizes like 512 bytes, 1024 bytes, 2048 bytes and 4 KB, 8 KB, 16 KB, 32 KB, 64 KB, 256 KB, 512 KB, 1024 KB. So that means different types of memories or different sizes of memories are available for our selection. So we need to select in these memories. So which size will be suitable for our application or for our design. So based on that we can select one of these sizes. So while you select a memory size, always keep in mind that the address range should be supported by the processor. So we can select one of the memory from these sizes based on the address bus capability of the processor. If the address bus capability of the processor is 16 bits, then we need 2 power 16 to be the memory size. So on this 2 power 16, whether it is available in on chip or not. So we need to check whether it is available in the on chip or not. If in the on chip, if we are not having this memory, 2 power 16 is nothing but 2 power 10 into 2 power 6, that is 64 KB. If the on chip memory capability is not 64 KB and if it is not sufficient, then we can use external memory which is up to 64 kilobytes for using for our design. So the word sizes which are supported by the memory chips should be 4, 8, 12, 16, 24, 32. So ensure that the word size supported by this memory chip matches with the data bus width of the processor or controller. So here we need to select memory based on the processor used for our design, so that whatever the address bus capability of the processor will be used for selecting the memory size. So whatever the data bus capability of the processor, that will be used for selecting the word size of the memory chip. So here for storing the temporary data or for temporary storage, we can prefer these memories. So in our application, if we need any permanent storage, that means any program or code for our application, so that will be need to store permanently. So in that cases, we can choose ROM or BIOS, removable drives, network, internet storage, hard drive. So these will be chosen for permanent storage. So this cache memory, level 1, level 2, RAM memory, physical RAM or virtual memory. So these will be chosen for temporary storage data. So these are the, so here in this presentation, we have discussed what are the topics covered in the previous session and how can we select memory according to the interface. So what are the different types of interfacing methods available in our memory, which is parallel interfacing and serial interfacing. And next, memory shadowing. Memory shadowing is nothing but copy the contents from ROM to RAM. And next, memory selection. What are the factors are used to select a particular memory for our embedded system design? So these are the topics we have discussed in present session. So we will go to the next session with our new topic. Thank you.